In 2010, Congress passed what's known as PAYGO. PAYGO was signed into law and requires that if you want to spend new money, you have to pay for it. Hence the name pay-as-you-go.
Senator will suspend.
The idea was that if you wanted to spend money on something, you'd either need to cut spending or raise taxes. But you couldn't just simply borrow more money. And if you don't cut something, the cuts would be automatic. Except we have now waived PAYGO 60 times since we passed PAYGO. Debt has gone from $13.5 trillion to $30 trillion because Congress continues to evade the rules they put in place. Brings us back to the $1.9 trillion spending bill the other side just passed. They want to now waive the PAYGO rule. This will be the 61st time to waive PAYGO. Some will say that Republicans didn't seem to care about the debt when they voted to cut taxes. However, honest observers will note that I also forced a vote on PAYGO when we cut taxes. Interestingly, every Democrat in this body at that time voted to evade the PAYGO rules and add taxes to the deficit, as I'm sure they will today. So do deficits matter? The answer is a resounding yes. There is no free money. When we borrow or print new money, that money must be repaid. We have racked up nearly $30 trillion in debt. That's almost 150% of our entire economy. We borrow $6.6 million every minute. Get that? We borrow 6.6.
Senator's time has expired.
Ask unanimous consent to have 1 minute to conclude our remarks.
Is there any objection? Without objection.
The deficit has gone from $3 trillion last year, will be $3.5 trillion this year. In Washington, every day is a good day to spend money. Big spenders like to say the federal government is no different than a family budget. We have the Federal Reserve who can print up money to buy our debt, but all that does is cause inflation. Even with inflation not spiking, we've lost 17% of the dollar over the last several years. Who's responsible for the $30 trillion debt? Republicans? Democrats? The answer is yes and yes. Both parties are to blame. The vote I've called for is a litmus test for fiscal responsibility. Anyone who cares about the debt should vote to enforce the PAYGO rule. Mr. President, according to the CBO, the bill before us will increase the deficit by $15 billion in fiscal year 2021. Therefore, I raise a point of order against the measure pursuant to Section 404A on Senate Conference Resolution 13 of the 111th Congress.